All right, folks. So it is 7:50 p.m. It's still 10/13/2022. I am feeling much better after my stomach virus or whatever that was. I think I just had some bad Asian food. That Japanese food did not agree with me for some reason or another. I don't know what was going on there, but it was crazy, and I'm just glad that it's over at this point. But yeah, I didn't eat too much today because I just wasn't, quite up to par feeling it today. Plus, I had a lot of errands to run today. I had to take my daughter to the doctor today, and then from the doctor, I had to take her to school. Then when I got her to school, I had to go back and get my son. And when I got my then when I got my son, I had to go pick up my daughter because she didn't have but 3 hours today. But I went in and talked with a teacher for a minute, and I got some good news. And she's talked about got more approval for Haley to have more hours coming up throughout her day schedule. So I am liking the sound of that. I am liking the sound of that. Gives me more free time to do stuff and such. And y'all know me. Me and extra time is a dangerous combination. Maybe we'll get to take that mall trip. We'll just have to find out. I don't want to get too excited about it because, be my luck, it's only an hour and a half or something. But I'll take anything at this point. I'll take anything. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. But yeah, that's good news. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'll report in as soon as I know something. I will let all y'all know. Yeah, it sure would be nice, to just take off up to the mall one day and do some filming and shopping around, hanging out Latchkey style for real, Maybe get some food in that food court. Yeah, we'll go get some food in the mall food court. Out of the 3 malls I grew up in, there's only one standing. One left standing. And it's a big one. It's a big one. And I've been wanting to visit it now for, over a year and a half. I haven't been there since before the pandemic. I haven't been there in a long time. They got a toy store up there now. I gotta go check that out. I want to go check out that toy store. I haven't seen a toy store in that mall in decades. Since KB Toys went out of business. Yeah, there was KB, and then of course there was Toys R Us, and it always had its own store. But for some reason, they always parked it near the mall. I mean, I could go to walk from the mall to Toys R Us when I was a kid, But they got one there now, and I want to go give it a good old checking out. Might even buy something while we in there just for old time's sake, That's where Mabel used to take me to this mall. Me and her used to hang out on the regular there. So there's a J.C. Penney's there, and that's where she got her hair done on Saturdays. And while she was getting her hair done, I had free range of the mall now, and there was an arcade there, and Spencer's there, and like I said, KB Toys, and plus, the Sears had a little toy department in there. Yeah, back in those days, kids roamed everywhere freely without adults. I mean, that's why I'm the latchkey Gen Xer, because I was the latchkey kid. Despite what you hear about latchkey kids, I mean, they try to put a negative spin on it. That is not true, man. I tell you what, I guess it could be with some, but there's people who grow up, with their parents, in a good environment. Well, not a good environment. That just blows the example I was trying to explain away. Let me try to explain this in a better way. There are some kids that grow up in a family with a mother and father who have really bad, experiences because, maybe the parents aren't so great to them, My parents were great to me when they were around. When they weren't around, I didn't think any less of them. I enjoyed my freedom being by being by myself and on my own. It's probably why I excel so good on YouTube, because I can get my point across, talk to all of y'all, and usually I do it in the comfort of my own self. Usually no one else is around, unless I'm on metal detecting group hunt, and then I'm surrounded by other Gen Xers, because everybody in that group's close to the same age. We grew up with the same styles of life. Well, not all of them are Latchkey kids. Not everybody from Gen X was a Latchkey kid. I was, like I said, my mother and father both work. I let myself in the house, coming home from school. And all I did was maybe make a ham and cheese sandwich, and sit in front of the cartoons till my older sisters got home from middle school, and then later on in high school. Both of my sisters were out of middle school and into the high school before I even got out of elementary school. So, we never went to school together. My oldest sister that you've met, there's 5 years difference, and then I think there was 4 years difference in me and my other sister that passed away. So, yeah, I mean, having free range of everything was epic. I'm here to tell you what. And then when I spent summers up at Aunt Mabel's, she worked all the way up into her 70s and mid 70s, and beyond. Maybe even into her 80s. I just can't remember anymore exactly. But she was, older. She was retired from the job, but they still let her come back, as a supervisor even after retirement. So she got her retirement money, plus, she worked doing that as well. So she'd go to work, and I'd have free range of her house all day long while she was working. And it was good and bad. It was good in the mornings because you had your morning cartoons that came on, and then it was bad from there because we only had those 3 channels up there. So and then nothing come on all day but the soap operas. And there's nothing else to watch, and when you're in the house alone for that length of time, you try to watch them and enjoy them, and it's just not possible. It's not possible. So I'd find other ways while they were on to keep myself entertained. I'd go do some cooking experiments, with stuff, and get into things like that, play with whatever, video games was a big part of my life, of course, once the Atari and the Nintendo come out. So when those come out, that was great because you could spend that soap opera time, totally doing that, especially when you were by yourself. I used to flop my Atari and then later on my Nintendo back and forth between my parents' house and my Aunt Mabel's. I'd pack that stuff up on the go. And on the weekends was a different story because the church we all went to, I had a best friend up there, and he would come spend the night with me at Aunt Mabel's house one night, and then on a Friday night, and then on Saturday night we would go to his house, and stay with his parents and stuff, and they were good to me too. And then they dropped me back off at Aunt Mabel's on Sunday. So yeah, I had a great life being a latchkey kid. There was nothing lonely and sad about it. It was fun. Sorry about that. That was my mom calling. But anyway, like I was saying, yeah, it wasn't as bad as they try to make it out. It wasn't a sad, lonely little life. It was great. It was great. When I was up at Aunt Mabel's, she lived right in the heart of the places where all the restaurants and stuff were up there in the big county of Greenville. Just on the outskirts of that city. When we get hungry, if we had some money in our pocket, we'd just go to one of them restaurants and get ourselves something to eat. Hot dogs. There was a McDonald's there. I mean, it was a great life. It was a great life. The life of a latchkey Gen Xer probably cannot be beat in these days and times. And I would not trade my age for my youth. If I had to live that youth now, if I couldn't go back, you know, to the 70s and 80s, just forget it. I'm good. But, you know, that's how I'm going to try to choose to live out the rest of my life, as close to that as I can, because that's where I'm the happiest, and that's what I'm going to do. They say you can't go backwards. That is true, but you don't have to, you know, jump out there and be so forward either. Not me. That ain't my style. Yeah, it's funny. I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. You know, people say, "Tom, you're in your 50s. You're dropping a bunch of weight. You grew your hair back out like you had in your all the way up into your late 20s. Are you going through some kind of midlife crisis?" I look at everyone and smile and say, "You only get one shot at a midlife crisis. Make it count." All right, folks. That is all I got for today. So until tomorrow, y'all have a good one.